we will actually start with a brief introduction.
Yeah.
My name is Anna. I work in Normal Alex for 2 years already. I work as a marketing and research associate. And today, our main speaker will be Jerome, who will discuss everything about the recruitment in single family offices, the top jobs, remuneration, and the recruitment process. So, first of all, I want to ask Jerome my first question to present himself and how his experience is related to our topic today. And also,
Sure.
I prepared a short slide deck for everybody. So I think it will be good to share it so that you have visual slides also to see on what topic we are talking about. And I think that it will be also helpful for people who will join us later.
Welcome to all our viewers for today's webinar. Indeed, we're going to go through 8, 9 points or questions today on the topic of recruitment for SFOs, the jobs, the market trends, the remuneration, how at Normal Alex we proceed for recruitment process and our added value. At the end of the expose, please, there will be time for questions. So firstly, I will introduce myself. My background is of a recruitment consultant with over 30 years of experience now. So I'm starting to be an old recruiter now. My experience is mainly in financial recruitment in Europe, in 3 areas: France, Switzerland, and Luxembourg. I'm based in Geneva, but I cover the Luxembourg and the Parisian or the French market as well. So I joined Normal Alex in 2002 and I developed expertise in the wealth management industry and more specifically with SFO clients, single family office clients, recruiting their staff, both C-level positions and executive roles. Along with my partners, we've been involved in several searches throughout the years for SFOs in Monaco, Luxembourg, Paris, Switzerland, Dubai, London, Bahamas, and the US, mainly from established multi-generation single family office to the most recent ones established by successful entrepreneurs. We have a proven track record in recruitment, best practices, salary guidance, and related matters. So it's important today to note that we will discuss about all those topics with the eyes of a recruitment consultant. We are not working inside as an operational person or people in the family office, but we know them as recruiters.
So let's go in depth to the topic. First of all, can you please explain, Jerome, to our viewers, what is single family office, as we say, SFO?
Sure. So I will start to go with a little bit of history. The concept of family office emerged firstly in the United States, second part of the 19th century. The term single family office was born there. It was a structure wholly owned by one family, mainly directed by one or more of their members, and assigned to a range of tasks to manage the family wealth. Today, it's estimated that there are up to 10,000 single family offices worldwide. The majority of them were established in the last 20 years, while they represent more or less the third or second generation of the family. A single family office, when we come to definition, there's multi definitions, but ours would be it's an organization of people serving one family. It offers advice, support exclusively for the benefit of their wealth management interests through a range of skills organized in-house or outsourced. The objective is set up by the family members or the principal or the principals. And most of the time, those objectives are twofold: administration of family wealth and wealth preservation.
Perfect. Are there several types of SFOs?
Yes, indeed. There are many SFOs as principals or family members. And it's very important here to note that we need to spend a lot of time exploring these criteria that characterize single family offices. One criteria which is very important is the culture, the DNA of the founders and how the wealth has been originated. But culture is key. It drives from the history of the single family office and its founders and the investment philosophy. It's very important to have a grasp of all this because it explains everything when it comes to recruitment, to define profiles, to look for the right job profiles and candidate profiles, and when it comes to remuneration. Existing financial setup of the family is also important because there's some family office that exists through an existing corporate entity that still exists, and some, on the other hand, family offices where the origin or the corporation has been sold. So there's those two type of family offices. Another criteria is the level of wealth. We tend to say that in order to create a family office, the fortune more or less needs to be above 200 million euros, dollars, or CHF, whatever. But some family offices are in terms of billions that impact also in terms of employees within the organization. The smallest ones are between 1 to 5 people, and the biggest one can go well over 100 people. So when the
Hey,
family office is, the functions are more segmented within the family office with specialists. And when the family office is small, we are a smaller number of employees, but also it's an entrepreneurial spirit, more entrepreneurial spirit, and the tasks that are doing the employees are more diversified.
I also wanted to go in depth to the evolution of the SFO market. Can you please speak more about today's trends and also future trends of SFOs?
Sure. I'm going to lay out 3 main trends that we've seen throughout the years, give you some facts and statistics that are brought up by KPMG, a study of KPMG on family office. So one of the evolution, it's linked to the number of family offices that have grown the last decade worldwide. So as we all know, the number of wealthy billionaires, or not even billionaires, but multi-billion dollar wealth has increased a lot and has increased the single family offices. So with this increase growth, association has been created, regulation has been put in place, and there's been a lot of professionalism in the different services that single family office offers in IT, in investment, legal, tax. The second point is talent acquisition, which is linked to HR. Single family offices increasingly recruit now from traditional financial institutions, high-level ones, the Goldman Sachs, the Merrill Lynch, the private equity firms, elevating the expertise within the family offices. So we've seen also higher education and a higher caliber type of candidates. Lastly, we noticed that the roles, also the family office, has increasingly been oriented in managing or putting emphasis on the next generation, usually first generation, second generation, or third generation. For the latest one, fourth or third, the emphasis was not really into succession plans. And this is something that we see now more and more. So I'll give some interesting figures from the KPMG reports. So for example, and that's only for Europe, 5% of the CEO family offices manage over 5 billion euro of wealth. 68% between 500 million and 5 billion, 27% between 250 and 500 million euros. Interesting to know that. In terms of teams, 30% have 5 employees or less, 44% between 5 and 20, and 25% above 20 employees. When it comes to gender, male, female, and also CEO family members, where we note that 70% are male, 23% are female. In Asia, 100% of CEOs are male. Also, 26% of family members who are CEOs in Europe. So that's about a quarter of CEO family offices in Europe have their CEO or one of the family members. Remote working, 79% of European SFOs facilitate working from home. So this is a trend that exploded with COVID, but that's interesting to see that family offices have crawled to this new type of work environment. Succession plan, lastly, only 50% of single family offices in Europe have put in place a succession or plan.
That's really interesting. So now let's dive in today's topic. Firstly, what are the job trends, top jobs and skills required in a single family office?
I would categorize two mainstream job assignments um, given by our clients. There are the C-level roles where leadership and interpersonal skills are a must with a strong capacity to be a problem solver, and executive roles, which are more specialist, and that with investors, so in the investment teams, usually that are sometimes when the single family office is big, segmented by asset classes, or other expert roles like tax or wealth planner or compliance officer or somebody who's IT or in cybersecurity. So those roles are mostly technical, require more technical skills. C-levels, we've been involved with recruiting with head of SFOs, CFOs, chief financial officers, CIOs, chief investment officers, COOs, chief operating officer, HR director, general counsel, head of tax, legal, CTOs. And as far as executive roles goes, we've been involved in investment managers, both liquid assets or earned assets, private equity, hedge funds, real estate, or equity, fixed income. We see that's most probably through regulation, the governance recruitment, audit people or legal people. Cybersecurity has increased a lot with the last 10 years. We see also philanthropy. More and more family offices are dedicated to investing in philanthropy. So all in all, I would say there's top jobs that we mostly recruit or invest on the investment space. So investment specialists in all type of asset classes, tax roles or legal roles, and also IT, cybersecurity.
I think it will be also very interesting to know the range of the remuneration in a single family office. Can you please talk a little bit about this topic as well?
Yeah, so this is a tricky one. It is a question that I guess our viewers and everybody's interested in. For me, there are three rules of thumb. The first one is that there's as many remuneration as there are single family offices. It all depends on the size, the DNA, the culture of the family office, the wealth. So you can see that for the same role, just take the example of a CIO role, for one family office to another, the difference on the overall package, including basic, bonus, mainly, could be 100%. So that's one rule of thumb. Second one is when to attract the best talent is becoming crucial. And more, the common saying, if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys apply, which means that there's a real war for talents, and that increases the remuneration of people working in a family office. Third rule of thumb, I would call that the golden prison. One has to be aware that if he leaves his job, wherever he is, to join a single family office, his salary could increase, his basic salary, or even the global compensation could increase by 30%, 50%, sometimes more. But for whatever reason, the person or the individual has to move out and come back to the real world, is what I may say, he would find that he would need to take a cut in terms of his remuneration. What I can also say of remuneration is that more and more, especially for C-level positions, single family office offers basic salary and benefit packages, which not only include the bonus, but include an equity-based compensation to align the employee's interest to the family's long-term success. For example, we have what we call the long-term incentive plans. So they have different form. They could be phantom stock. They could be co-investment fees, transaction bonuses, and in some cases, carried interest or partnerships. So by building a high-performance talent management strategy, family offices can attract and retain the best talent, ensuring their long-time prosperity and competitive advantage.
Okay, very interesting. So my next question would be about the implication on recruitment in the SFO space. If you please go in depth about this topic. Of
There are a
course.
lot of studies, including the KPMG studies, with gives an outline of remuneration by functions. I would not go into that because, again, as I mentioned, there's so many differences that we see. But I can give you two or three interesting stats. Uh, mm, the only remuneration I would give is, for example, average basic salary CEO in Europe of a CEO family office lies between 200 and 280,000 euro, plus between 30% bonus, plus those long-term incentive plans. In Europe, 83% receive a bonus, and out of the 83%, 70% comes from a discretionary bonus. The rest could be a mathematical formula. And 90% of family office professionals receive what I mentioned earlier, a long-term incentive plan, of which 55% are offered through a carried interest plan, 39% are offered a co-investment plan, and 25% are offered a stock option plan. So that's what I wanted to add when it comes to remuneration. So coming back to your question on implication of recruitment in the CEO family office space or industry, I think there are two or three criteria that are important. First one is a growing appetite for expertise. So, for example, PwC just made this year, came out with a survey in 2024 mentioning that 71% of family offices globally recognizes the role of human capital. So, again, coming back to what I mentioned earlier, recruiting the right person is becoming increasingly important. And Deloitte has made another survey that underscores that 55% of family offices managing over 1 billion in assets actively recruit, compared just to 33% of their smaller counterparts. So that really highlights the fact that the growth of recruitment is mostly on the big family offices, a little bit less on the smaller ones. Second point, beyond expertise, is engaging into the next generation. So family offices are not looking for seasoned professionals. They're looking to recruit for the future. So that's an important thing to have in mind. And thirdly, the talent retention challenge. So not only they're looking to find the best remuneration schemes, but they're also trying to put in place different things so that people are retained in the company. That could be, of course, financial retention, but also a nice environment to work with, going outdoors, putting in place in the family office a gym to foster a healthy work-life balance.
Yeah, I think that's very important. And also, I wanted to mention that we actually did this survey on LinkedIn. It was a couple of months ago, and it was not exactly on single family offices, but it was about recruitment in financial services. And it was really interesting to go through these answers because there were mentioned all of these challenges that you just spoke about. So it's really, I think it's not only in the single family offices, but in financial services, we have many challenges. So the next question is about your personal approach when it comes to recruitment for SFOs. If you can tell us.
So I don't know if it's personal or I think my colleagues do the same, but from my recruitment experience, CEO family office is a complex animal to recruit. Our initial approach is to a full 360-degree audit of the CEO family office. So we can have a full understanding of its history, culture, governance, internal organization, and overall investment philosophies. We believe that the more information we gather prior to launching a recruitment search is clearly going to optimize chances for recruiting the right talents, the talent that would fit within the organization. So for us, there's really two keys that are important to the original wealth and the culture and the DNA. So original wealth is interesting to understand. Is it a third generation family office? Or is it the first one? If it's the first one, is the principal still in place? Did he make this fortune on his own from nothing? Or did he inherit? That has a lot of implication to culture and even for recruitments. So we understand how the wealth has been established. Second thing is the culture. So most of the time, recruitment failures come from or are linked to cultural misfits. So it's really important for us, again, to understand the personality of the principal, if the principal is really implicated in the family office structure, especially when it comes to recruitment, but even though in the investments, in IT or else, if it's not the principal himself, the head of the family office, who's again reporting to the principal, but it's important to know who he is. Is he a paternalistic person? Is he mostly intuitive person and so forth? So family offices, when they recruit, they want someone who thinks exactly like if they were themselves a family office, a family member, sorry. They're looking loyal people, people they can trust, that have values, ethics, or that follows the ethics or the values of the family.
So then this leads me to the next question. I think that everyone agrees that it's very difficult to find the people like this who are. What is the added value of using executive search firm, in your opinion?
Okay. Prior to respond to this question, coming back a little bit to the earlier points, the culture also has an impact on the investment philosophies. It's
All
very
right.
important to also understand sometimes the father, the grandfather has created the family office, and the investment philosophy is, say, real estate or liquid assets, hedge fund or whatever. It's important to note that not that, so in this case, it would be important to see what's the philosophy, but others are risk adverse or contrary, ready to take risk. We also encounter situations when there's a struggle within the family office between the old generation and the newer generation, who are sometimes more happy to go into alternative investments such as crypto or others in the sports industry. So important to be aware of that as a recruiter to make sure we find the right talent. Which I think that highlights the importance of using a specialist in terms of recruitment. Principals or family members were looking when they had to recruit, firstly within their own network. Also going through a headhunter to find who specializes, of course, in the wealth management industry or the family office recruitment helps or ensure objectivity in the hiring decision. Again, if you hire friends, you don't have sometimes the best objectivity. Another criteria for which I think using a family headhunter or recruitment firm is often it's a long process. It's a time-consuming process as a whole. It takes a lot of time, and by using a headhunter, we can reduce the time so that the headhunter produced a shortlist of 3-4 candidates that should be on. Also, we believe that at the beginning of the search, when a recruitment firm structure the planning of the search with a clear plan, with defined roles, job descriptions, but candidate profiles, and also responsibilities, enhances the recruitment process. So that's another point where we add value. Lastly, I would say when you implement a recruitment strategy, contributes to successful talent acquisition and retention, which benefits SFO long-term goals. So that's another advantage of using a headhunter. There are others, of course. The simple fact of a headhunter would know where to pitch, would know that the market in terms of remuneration, as we discussed earlier. But again, maybe to conclude here, I really believe that we're looking for expert roles for executives, but more chef d'orchestre for the C-level positions. And this is what we do for 25 years.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for being here. And yeah,
Thank you to all our viewers today. Thank you.
thank you, everyone. Bye bye.